the first thing that we will discuss is three graphs. Okay, and then you will be able to solve everything. So let me make three graphs. I will be making the sine function graph. I will be making the graph of sine function. I'll make the graph of cos function and tan function. These three things you should know. Okay, so first I'm trying to plot the sine function. Okay, now when I say sine function, means we are trying to plot something called y equals to sine of x. Is it getting too much jumbled? Are you able to see, or should I take out the grid? Is it clear, or else I can do it without the grid also? Now, can you make it this y equal to sine x? Is it legible to you? Okay, we are trying to draw y equal to sine x. Y equal to sine x. What do we do, children? This is called, this will be my input. We will be putting inputs out here, like sine 30, sine 0, cos 0, everything, right? And this will be my output. These are my output. When you go for higher level calculus, this will be called your domain. Domain means all possible input, and this is called range. Range means आपका आंसर कितने से कितने के बीच में रहेगा. Range. Domains are the inputs. Means what all can you input? We can't input everything, right? Like a tan function. A tan function is a sine by cos. You cannot input something that is 0 at the bottom. So a sine, you have to be a little bit, what you should know a little bit at this age as you start is range जानना चाहिए हर function का. बाकी आप सब आराम से कर लोगे. Sine functions range is always -1 and 1, both included. -1 and 1 means if the sine function will be a wave function, okay, keep listening and keep noting. A sine will be a wave function and the amplitude will be +1 and -1, means the maximum value, anything that you put in this world, sine 1 को cross नहीं कर सकता है और -1 से नीचे नहीं जा सकता है, right? So now this is my 0 line and I am plotting what is called as my amplitudes. So let me plot my amplitude. This is, say, +1 and 1, 2, 3, and say this is my -1. I'm going to plot the sine function, and right at the center, I'm keeping my 0. Just see the contrast, okay, whether you can pick it up or not. So right at the center, I am drawing my okay. Now we'll draw sine function. As you see sine function, also see this thing parallelly, this quadrant. Okay, and this is my normal quadrant which I have. So this is your x and this is your y, and this is my origin. Start thinking. Angles are always measured anti-clockwise. How are the angles measured? Angles are measured anti-clockwise. So the angle starts getting measured from 0, 30, 40, 60 and then comes to 90. ठीक है? तो मैं कुछ चीज लिख रहा हूँ. देखिए आप dispute कीजिए. 0 degree will be here. Agreed? If you go here, what will it be? 90 degrees. यहाँ आने से कितना हो जाएगा बेटा? 180. Then it will become 270. And then finally one circle complete. 360. This is exactly what was drawn in your book. Unit circle. एक चक्कर मारे तो 360. Correct. बीच में आएंगे तो 45. And all the tables that you solved. What all did you solve? Sine 0, sine 30, sine 45, sine 60, sine 90. You were actually working between 0 to 90. Where were you working? Between 0 to 90. This in mathematics is called first quadrant. First quadrant. First quadrant. Q1. ठीक है? And we always move anti-clockwise. Children, we always move anti-clockwise. हमारा movement ऐसा ही होगा. This way we will move. So this will be my quadrant 2. This will be my quadrant 3. This will be my quadrant 4. Have you understood or not? ठीक है? So far the tables that you were trying to do, I would rather say to आज आप समझो, आप लिखने से आपको time लगेगा, आज समझिए, and it is getting recorded. Watch it again, and that time you make your notes. The tables that you made were all that you worked in quadrant 1, but there can be angles beyond 90 degree also. And after 360, common sense says everything is the same. एक चक्कर मारने के बाद is same. Why don't we calculate what is the distance moved by a wheel? What is the distance moved by a wheel? How many rounds did you do? एक ही तो बात है, एक राउंड घूमने के बाद is same. Have you seen? We always work on angular displacement. एक ही बात है, 360 के बाद तो same ही होता है ना, तो यहाँ भी same concept है. So if you are clear what happens from 0 to 360, everything else is clear. After that, if somebody tell me what happens at 720, अरे 720 में तो घूम के इधर ही आएगा, वही होगा जो 0 to 360 में हुआ. That means what I'm trying to say, between 0 to 90, whatever happens for a function will be the same thing that will happen from 360 to another 50, that is 410. Same things will happen because ultimately it is sweeping in the same area, right? So let us first get our clarification what happens 0 to 360 for every what you call function. When you go to higher classes, we no more do this in degrees, we do them in radians. So we say 0 radian, pi by 2 radian means 90, pi radians, after that pi by 2, then 3 pi by 2, and again 2 pi. तो वो तो अभी सोचने की जरूरत नहीं है, हम degrees में ही करेंगे. Let's start with our sine function. So when we go with our sine function, 1 minute बच्चा, the t-shirt touched a lot of places here. Okay, so let me make it. So this is my plus 1, this is my minus 1, and this is my 0. Okay, 0. So let's say keep some constant places, 1 2 3 4. Let's say this is 90 degree, then again 1 2 3 4. Let's say this is 180 degree. 1 1 2 3 4, 1 2 3 4, 1 2 3 4, 1 2 3 4. This is 270. Equal spacing 1 2 3 4. This is 360 degree. बोलो बच्चा, इतना तक समझ में आया? We have just done some markings. Okay, some marking. And similarly, I am doing some marking on the reverse side also. 1 2 3 4, negative 90 degree. 1 2 3 4, negative 180. Okay. 1 2 3 4, negative 270, and 1 2 3 4, negative 360 degree. Clear? Okay, sir, I did not understand what is negative 90. This is my rotating vector. My vector is here. If my vector goes anti-clockwise, I am sweeping positive angles. If my vector goes downwards, I am sweeping negative angles. Just keep that. That is the convention we follow. So what is a negative 90? If I go like this is negative 90. Okay? Let us first plot the sine function. How the sine function looks like. So the sine function is very easy. Sine 0. So it is like this. Sorry. Very sorry. Okay, क्या पढ़ा था आपने? sin 0 0, sin 91, sin 180 is again 0, sin 270 minus 1. So I think 270 we can make it a little bit better. Okay, let's make 270 a bit. Let's make 270 a bit better. Array. Let's make 270 a bit better. Why does it erase everything? Okay, let's make 270 a bit better. Fine. This is the function of y equal to sin x. What is this function? Y equal to sin x. Remember this. ये आपको काम में आएगा. Sin always starts from 0. At 90 it will take 1. At 180 it becomes again 0. At 270 it again becomes 1. This it keeps on pulsating. Like you have read what sine 30 equal to half. So exactly at half. So if you want to actually test your knowledge, you can test it like this. We know that sine 30 is equal to half. So exactly at half, if you draw half like this, so this value should be around 30 degrees. You get it? We'll see that later on. So this is my sine graph. Let's now make the cos graph. Let's make cos graph. So cos will be again +1 -1 I need to make. So let this be my serious here. There is some okay. And I need to have my center line 3. Center line, and the measurements remain the same, okay? And then I need to make my 3. So this is my 90, this is my 180, this is 270, and this is 360. ठीक है, 0 तो 0 ही है, -90, -180, 270 and 360. चलिए cos curve देखते हैं. So we are going to draw now y equal to cos x. Our next was y equal to cos x. So I'll draw this with a blue curve. Okay. Now look at the 0 mark. Cos 0 is equal to 1. Again, this is +1, this is -1. Cos 0 is equal to 1. So when I'm at cos 0 is 1. That means the cos curve is something like this. This. Oh, sorry. The cos curve, this is 0, this is 90, this is 180, this is 270, this is 360. And this is -90, -180, -270, and -360. Are we fine till here? Okay. Now the cos curve, cos 0 is equal to 1. So cos is same like sine, but देखो tendency अलग है. This is cos 0 is equal to 1. So cos is going to pulsate here. And then further, it should have gone this way. And then we come here. And then it should have gone. Have you understood the cos curve? How to understand? If you look just from this much portion, this much portion, sine always starts from the origin. Cos starts as 1 from the origin. Cos 0, 1. Remember, हमेशा याद रखिए, cos 0 is equal to 1. And remember here, sine 0 is always 0. Tell me, beta, are these two graphs clear to you? Right? अगर ये clear है ना, आपका आधा chapter clear हो जाएगा. Now we draw the tan graph also along with it. So you can take your time, and in that moment, what I'm doing, I'm just extending my lines. Sine curve, cos curve, and now let's see the tan curve. Okay. The cos curve also has a range of -1 to 1, -1 to 1. However, tan में ऐसा कुछ नहीं है. Tan's range is the entire real numbers. Tan can have value 2 also. So tan में ये horizontal lines draw नहीं करेंगे. Okay. Okay. Now how to draw the tan curve? Y equal to tan x we are trying to draw. We're trying to draw the tan curve. Now what is the tan function? Tell me children, what is tan function? Tan of x is equal to sin x by cos x. That means if I try to plot tan 0, what is sin 0? 0. Cos 0 is 1. Tan 0 should be 0. Matlab, tan 0, 0 means tan should also, just like sin, pass through 0. Matlab, यहाँ पे एक horizontal line पहले बना लो. I've not made the horizontal. Let me make the horizontal. Okay. Make it here. Okay. This is my horizontal. And we'll make the tan curve with which color? Tan, let us make it through. Tan will make it yellow colors. Okay, right, fine. So this is my 0. Tan 0 कितना होता है बेटा? 0. So let me mark it. This is 90. This is 180. This is 270. And this is 360. Similarly, this is negative 90, negative 180, negative 270, and negative 360. Obviously, these are degrees. Degrees, degree, degree, degree. ठीक है. अब tan interesting होता है. Tan 0 is 0. What is the value of tan 90? Tan 90 is sin 90 by cos 90. It is not defined because sin 90 cos 90 is not defined. That means if something is not defined, something is like this, say 1 upon 0. If something becomes 1 upon 0, we call it as not defined, and this is equivalent to infinity. It should be going towards infinity. So यही से आता है tan of 90 will be such a curve that at 90 it won't touch the 90s line. You can't touch it. But it will go on going to where it goes, I don't know. Such sort of lines are called asymptotes. What is an asymptote? Okay, let me take a different line. So what is an asymptote? An asymptote is something like this. Okay, let's first also understand parallelly what I mean by an asymptote. So let's say this is your x-axis, and let's say this is your y-axis. Suppose you have a plot. You have a plot which is something like this. Does it touch the x-axis? No. It keeps on going. Very near it will come, but it will not touch. इसको हम बोलते हैं asymptote. यहाँ पे बुक में भी लिखा है ASYMPTOTA. This is also an asymptote. An asymptote is a graph which will exactly become close to the axis but not touch it. Means यहाँ पे define नहीं है. So let's go back. हमारा tan भी वैसा ही है. Tan 90 is not defined. So tan curve, but tan 0 is 0. So tan curve goes like this, beta. A tan curve is something like that. It will go with 0 and exactly make one impression like this. This is tan. Clear? Similarly, अभी देखो तो एक चीज देखो, अब मजा आएगा. Sin at 0 is 0. When does sin again become 0? At 180. That means tan's next changeover point will be 180. The next tan point will be like this. Are you getting it? Where does sin again become 360? 0 at 360. So tan का अगला कर्व ऐसे जाएगा और फिर यहाँ तो हमने प्लॉट नहीं किया, निकल जाएगा. Had it been a cot function, cot उल्टा करके आएगा. So these three functions we should know. Okay, let's see again, where is it? At minus 180 it is 0. यानी कि minus 180 पे फिर से हमें ये ऐसा आएगा. Have you understood? And here it will be like this. And it will go away. These are our three graphs. We should know them. A sine graph range is from -1 to 1. Cos graph range is also from -1 to 1. But if somebody asks me, I'm going back to my rough slide. This is my rough slide. If somebody tells me, sir, can you quickly plot a sine curve? Very easy. To plot a sine curve, just make a quadrant like this. Okay, quickly. I'll not damage that diagram. 0 degree, 90 degree, and then 180 degree, 270, and let's say we have a 360 somewhere here. Sine का ग्राफ बनाना बहुत easy है. How do you make that? Give a top wala, give a bottom wala. These are your amplitudes. And how does your graph go? So sine 0, 0, you have to just make it like this. And again, from this side again, this is a sine graph. Have you understood? If you want to make a cos graph, how do you make a cos graph? Cos starts from 0. So the cos graph will be the cos graph will be coming from here. So cos will pick up a 0 here like this, and again at 180 it will touch 1. What's a mistake over here? Like this. This is the cos graph. ठीक है, वापस चलते हैं अभी. आइए, see this. Now, so far, children, when you did your table, you have been actually concentrating only on this part. Which part? You have been concentrating only from 0 to 90. इस part पे आपने concentrate किया. In this part, your 30 degree, 45 degree, 60 degree, 90 degree will lie. So you used to get values. Now just see one thing. Let's say what is sine 45. So ये बीच में कितना हो रहा है? बीच में 45 हो रहा है. This is 45. So at 45, what should be the value? To find the value at 45, we take our sine graph, and you can straight away draw a dotted line from here, and you take the dotted line out here. Take the dotted line here and take another dotted line. Take another dotted line here, and you check what is the value here. You will find that this value is 1 upon root 2. This is 1 and this is 1. This is 1 upon root 2. This is how we find the value. So first thing that comes to our mind, so since we have done so much of, we say sine of 45 is equal to 1 upon root 2. Very good. Now question arises, is 1 upon root 2 only for sine 45? There is the catch. That is what you're going to learn in this chapter. Is it only for sine 45? I would say maybe not. Why I'm saying maybe not? Just look. Sine 45 means you are concentrating at a point which is this particular point, this point. This is sine 45 in our graph. Now what I do, I start plotting a horizontal line from this entire place. ऐसे ड्रॉ किया, ऐसे ड्रॉ किया. जहां जहां टच करके जा रहा है, देखो यहां भी टच किया है, यहां भी टच किया है, यहां भी टच किया है. All these on the y-axis is how much? 1 by root 2. Are you getting it? All these on the y-axis is how much? 1 by root 2. That means definitely if this is if sine 45 is 1 by root 2, there is some measurement, say x1 out here, where sine x1 should again be 1 by root 2. Is this thing you are able to understand? नहीं तो दोबारा समझाता हूं. देखो, by the table, you know sine 45 is 1 by root 2. So what you do, right at 45, you make an altitude and you cut it here, you find that this is 1 by root 2. That's what is sine 45 means, 1 by root 2. Well, what I find is that I make a horizontal line throughout the sine plot. I get many similar points. And if I'm getting many similar points, one thing I'm very sure of, कि यहाँ पे जो angle आ रहा है, यहाँ पे जो angle आएगा, फिर यहाँ पे जो angle आएगा, all these, let's say this is x1, this is x2, this is x3. Sine x1 should be equal to sine x2 should be equal to sine x3. Are there only 3 such points? No, infinite number of points where I can find that sine of those particular angles is 1 by root 2. That means periodicity is coming up. After a certain period, that 1 by root 2 is repeating. अगर ये आपके दिमाग में घुस गया ना, after a certain period, and if you see that period, it is exactly 180 degrees. Every 180 degree it will repeat. So when our book says that sine of something, they will give you, the question that you will get, they'll ask you to solve an equation. When you solve that equation using your calculator, will take up some problems. You will find that the value is coming in negative, but the book will say, give your answer in the range of 0 to 360. Let us take one problem. Okay, just let us take one problem, and let's say, okay, let's try to plot this number. Okay, आप इसको plot कीजिए तो, get me from your calculator, tell me what is sine of 35 degree. Just see your calculator and tell me what is sine 35. 0.57. Say 0.57. Obviously, because sine 30 is half, sine 35 is this. Okay, so let's go back to our plot. So if you go back to our plot, sine 30 will be somewhere between 45 degree. 30 will be somewhere between 45 degree and 0 degree. Agreed? So let's try to plot it. Okay, let's say sine 35 is somewhere here. Let's say this is sine 35, and the value that you are trying to get is 0.5, which is somewhere here. Our point now is, this is the point, 0.5. That means this is the point on the function. This is my point on the function. 1 minute. This is my point on the function. Sine 35 is this point. क्या एक ऐसा पॉइंट एक ही है क्या? ऐसा तो नहीं ना. ये पॉइंट के जैसा तो मुझे एक और पॉइंट मिला. This is another point. This is some angle, and this angle is lying between what? 90 and 180. Some measurement we will get for this. Some measurement we will get for this. We don't know. Let's say this is some x4, where sine of x4 should be equal to sine of 35. Have you understood this or not? And that's not necessarily meaning here. This points should be at some of the same, this point. Then again here you will get 1 point. Again here you will get a point. You just extend this line. If we just extend this line, इसको extend कर दो. कितने सारे ऐसे point मिलेंगे? कहाँ point है? ये एक point है. This is one more point. And there will be infinite many. So when you read that sine 30 is equal to half, children, you were just concentrating on one quadrant. After making one more chakkar and coming here, my value should be same. Can I now go out of this slide? So let's understand a few more things out here. Okay, let's keep this as a rough slide. Let's go to one more slide. थोड़ा patience रखो, सब समझ में आएगा. Let's say make a quadrant. Okay, right. So let me say, now let me make some, let's say this is 35 degrees. Okay, I'm not making the unit circle. This is 35 degrees. This is 35 degrees. And I'm saying sine of 35 is equal to how much? Some 0.57 something. It is not necessarily that only sine of 35 will be 0.57. There will be many such angles where sine of this. You have to now try to understand how to decode that formula. How to decode that formula. Shall we go ahead? Okay, आइए. उसको जानने के लिए कुछ ट्रिक्स लगाते हैं अभी. आपको unit, you don't need to have the unit circle and all at all. Okay, remember this thing. Remember a formula called ASTC. Okay, this is my Q1, this is Q2, this is Q3, and this is Q4. Okay, Q1, this is 0 degree, this is 90 degree. ये अच्छे से समझिए. नहीं समझ में आया, don't hesitate. I don't think any one of you will pick it up on the first go. Okay. No more examples. Now we go to real. ASTC. How to remember ASTC? So many people remember it as rhyme. Add sugar to coffee. ऐसे याद करते हैं. Or people say after school to college. But you have to remember ASTC. Okay. Since we were born, we studied in Assam, so we used to remember it as Assam State Transport Corporation. ASTC आपको याद रखना पड़ेगा. ASTC. After sugar, add sugar to coffee, or after school to college, whatever you say. Now we should get to the real meanings of what are these ASTCs and all. So उसके real meaning में जाते हैं. आइए. So our real meanings are: A stands for all. All means all functions. What are the all functions? Sine function, cos function, tan function, cosec function, sec function, cot function. All. All means all will throw a positive value out here. All. Please take your calculator, children, and start. Arbitrary. Your measurement should be from 0 to 90 degree. आप कुछ भी type कीजिए 0 to 90 degree. कुछ भी 0 to 90 degree type करो. Sin 63, somebody do sin 57, somebody do sin 24, कुछ भी करो, पर 0 to 90 के बीच में. देखो सब positive हो रहा है कि नहीं. Sin will be positive. Or else let's do like this. Let's take 30 degree. We know our table. Sin 30, half. Cos 30, root 3 by 2. Tan 30, 1 by root 3. Cosec 30, 2. Sec 30, 2 by root 3. Cot 30, root 3. Everyone is positive. Do you agree? The maza will start from here. What did I say? All AS. यहाँ पे लिखेंगे sine. S stands for sine. Only sine will be positive. Rest all will be negative out here. होना ही पड़ेगा. मार के देखो. Sine 91 degree you type. Sine 91 degree. What is the value? Positive. Put cos 91 degree. Negative. Tan डालो. Obviously tan will be negative. Tan is sine by cos. So we don't go for, we don't take these as, we don't take these in our study, because these are just the reciprocal. So if the sine is positive, the cosec will also be positive. If the cos is negative, the sec will be negative. If the tan is negative, so have you understood? In 0 to 90, which you did in your last chapter, all your measurements, you started your table from 0 degree, 30 degree, 45 degree, 60 degree to 90 degree. Everything was positive. And it is positive for all. So A stands for all. Sine. T stands for tan. Here only tan will be positive. Take sine 181 degree. You have to. This is how much? This is 180. So क्या हो रहा है बेटा? It is like this. See. Ashmita, कुछ भी समझ में देखो. This is quadrant 1. Look at me how I'm doing. Quadrant 1. Now I'm coming to quadrant 2. My unit circle ही घूम रहा है. Now you are in quadrant 3. In quadrant 3, your angle should be more than 180. What is more than 180? Take 181. देखो, check करो, match होता है कि नहीं? Do sine of 181. Not 0. Negative is what I am looking for. Okay. Do cos of 181. Do tan of 181. If sine is negative, cos is negative, tan has to be positive. मजा आ रहा है अभी? Correct? Understood? And last में इसको हम बोलते हैं coffee. Coffee stands for cos. Coffee stands for cos. Here only cos will be positive, rest all negative. Only cos will be positive. So what value of angle should I take? 360 is my last angle. 359 ले लेते हैं. चलो देखो तो. Cos 359 मारो. Positive. Sine to 359 मारो. समझ में आया? अब कुछ समरी लिखता हूं और फिर आप मुझे बोलिए कहीं भी आपको अभी तक प्रॉब्लम हुआ कि नहीं. The summary of our discussion is: number 1, we learned how to plot the sine curve. Sine curve, which we say y equal to sine x. The y equal to sine x will have a max value of 1, mean value of -1. Have you understood? Right? and it starts from origin. ये हमेशा origin से ही pass करेगा, ऐसे जाएगा, origin से जाएगा, right? Then we also learn to plot the cost curve. How does the cost curve look like? Y equal to cos x. This is also from +1 to -1, but at the origin it will have a peak value, that is +1. This is the cost curve. Okay, then we learned how to plot the tan curve. Okay, tan curve. And in tan curve we learned that y equal to tan x is such a curve that at 0 the curve will pass through 0, but however at 90 and -90 this curve will become asymptote. ये curve asymptote बन जाएगा ऐसे. Sin 90 is not defined. Have we understood this much? Okay. Then we try to see what is called the ASTC convention. ASTC stands for all sin tan cos, everything always in anti-clockwise manner. Understood? Okay. Now let's say a little bit of your unit circle का concept, but I use the unit circle only in this manner where it becomes much more easy. अभी देखते हैं आपका unit circle क्या बोलता है. Okay. So what is a unit circle? A circle whose radius is 1. Unit circle means a circle whose radius is 1. So this is a circle whose radius is 1. The radius of this circle is 1. What are the values? 0 degree, 90 degree, same thing. 180 degree, 270 degree, comes back to 360 degree. समझ में आया? This is a unit circle. That means its radius is how much, beta? Its radius is always 1. Its radius is 1. Radius is 1. Right? And let's say this particular point is ठीक है, इस पॉइंट को हम P ले लेते हैं और लिखते हैं इसको XY, PXY. Agreed? That means here to here the distance should be X, here to here the distance should be Y. Yeah, that's what PXY means. Let this angle be theta. Theta always measured anti-clockwise. So I've written like this. And let me make it OPX. ऐसे लिख लेते हैं. ठीक है. आइए. अब sin theta देखने की कोशिश करते हैं. What is sin theta? And OP's value is always 1 because it's a unit circle. Unit circle. What is sin theta? Sin theta is equal to Px divided by 1. Sin theta is equal to opposite side divided by this side. Px divided by 1. Yani ki, what is the value of Px? Px value is equal to sin theta. Px is equal to sin theta. So this much, whatever angle you are taking, this is sin theta. And let's take cos. Cos theta की value क्या हो जाएगी? OX by 1. So OX is equal to cos theta. If that be the case, what is OX? OX is nothing but X. And what is PX? PX is nothing but Y. Can I say that this point represents sin theta? Sorry, ulta ho gaya. This point represents cos theta, sin theta. This is the measurement. Is this understood? Don't get confused if you समझ में आया आपको? If you just take sin x की वैल्यू कितनी आई, sin theta, y की वैल्यू कितनी आई, सॉरी, px is equal to y, उल्टा लिखा क्या? हाँ, px is equal to y, ox is equal to cos theta, which is equal to x. Are we clear on this? I should write it here. I should write this here. Ox is equal to x. Clear? Right? So any measurement here, what did we say? Our measurement should always be positive. Now let us take our angle in the negative side. जरा negative side angle लेके देखते हैं. ये सब बच्चे याद करते हैं, कुछ याद करने की जरूरत नहीं है. Let's take an angle on the negative side. This one. Okay. And this is, let me name this as O. So this is this is C, and this is D. And this angle is what? Now negative theta. Negative theta. Or we can't say theta, so I'm saying it as say negative because measurements are not same. Negative alpha. This is a negative angle now. Now just look at what is sine of negative alpha. You tell me what is sine of negative alpha from this figure. DC by 1. 1 will always be 1. 1 is always positive. This radius is always positive. DC by 1. From the graph, will DC be positive or negative? Negative, because you have come down. So sine of negative alpha will always give you DC by 1. ये आपका negative आता है. Clear हुआ? Sine of negative will always give you negative. From here we get to understand that sine of negative theta is negative sine theta. Sine is an even function. Higher grades you'll see even function. Even functions are those functions negative punch किया तो negative of the function हो जाता है. Now you start thinking, cos of negative alpha लेके देखो तो now tell me what is cos. Tell me what is cos from this figure. OD by 1. What is your perception about OD? Is it a positive quantity or a negative quantity? OD. Positive quantity. That means cos of negative alpha हमेशा मुझे positive देगा. इससे ये पता चलता है कि cos of negative theta is always equal to cos theta. अगर cos ऐसा behave करेगा, so cos's life partner, that is sec, will also behave like this. Cos is called an odd function. इसको हम क्या बोलते हैं? Odd function. If you enter a negative, it swaps it. In our teacher used to teach us like this. Cos बहुत बदमाश होता है. जो दोगे उसका उल्टा करता है हमेशा. You'll see this. Now, after some time, you'll get this. So, have you understood? Tan देखते हैं अभी. Tan of negative alpha. Now, you should not do anything. You should just plot sine of negative alpha divided by cos of negative alpha. Sine will give me a negative, cos will give me a positive. That means tan of negative theta is always negative tan theta. Except that fellow cos, हर कोई प्यार से behave करेगा. And sec. Tan is coming negative. So I can write here also tan of negative theta is equal to negative tan theta. अच्छा चलिए tan को देख लिया तो cot को देखते हैं. Cot of negative alpha should be equal to cos of negative alpha divided by sine of negative alpha. Cos तो भैया है ही बदमाश. Sine sorry उल्टा लिख दिया फिर से. Cos will throw you a positive value, sine will throw a negative. Ultimately negative ही आने वाला. So what do we get here? Cot of negative alpha will give me, cos will make it positive, sine will make it negative. सिर्फ cos आपको घुमाएगा, बाकी कोई नहीं घुमा सकता है. Sine is positive, so cosec will be positive. And how about sec? How about sec? Sec of negative alpha is equal to 1 by cos of negative alpha. Clear or not? Cos of negative alpha always gives me a positive quantity. So sec of negative alpha will give sec alpha. So remember, sec and cos को छोड़ के बाकी सब लोग even functions में behave करेगा. And that is what is given. Cos of negative x. Your book doesn't talk about sec, cosec and cot, but you have seen what happens in sec, cosec, cot also. So this brings us to one more conclusion, which we will write here now, that always remember sine of any negative theta is negative sine theta. For everyone, tan of any negative theta is tan theta. However, cos बहुत बदमाश है. Cos इसको swap कर देगा. And so will behave their partners also. Are we clear till this much? It will take some time to absorb. We can't finish it in one class. If you are trying to finish it in one class, you will not understand, and it will make a lot of problem for you in the coming classes. Now let's understand one more thing, which is called, these in CBSE higher grades we take 2-3 days to make them understand. Let's understand one more thing. You might be seeing some formula, sine 180 plus theta, cos 180 minus theta. That must be irritating you a lot. आइए उसको सीखते हैं. This is called, this is like function transformation. Again, not teaching as per your book, but in a manner in which you will always remember. Function transformation. In higher grades, we will need this a lot, where sine as a function, if it ever transforms, listen to me, now don't write. These are not something that you don't know. If sine ever transforms, sine will always transform to cos. Remember this in your life. If sine transforms, sine will transform to cos. So if cos transform, he will also transform to sine. ठीक है? Tan always transforms to cot. बस इतना याद रखना है. That means cosec will transform to sec, sec will transform to cosec. Is this thing understood? Now we also have to remember our A, all, sine, tan, cos. Now we are talking about transformation. Now we have to understand a little bit of literature here. Transformation means badalna, transforming the society, transforming the world, bringing new beginnings and new life, new things, new beginnings, transform. तो ये जो लाइन है ना, this line, इस लाइन को मैं बोलूंगा ये स्लीपिंग लाइन है. स्लीपिंग लाइन, ये ध्रुव जैसा है, ये लेजी है, ये लेजी लाइन है. ऐसे ही याद रखना. Our teacher taught us like this. This is sleeping line. How to remember it? Lazy. ये लाइन कुछ नहीं कर सकता है लाइफ में. His life will always be in the bed. और ये जो है, ये है standing line. Always alert, agile. तो I call this as बाहुबली line. ये है हमारा बाहुबली line. और ये क्या है? ये है सुस्त, लेजी, ऐसे पड़ा. ये याद रखो, ये बाहुबली, ये लाइन. बाहुबली में क्या मेजरमेंट है? 90 एंड 270. सुस्त में क्या मेजरमेंट है? 0, 360 एंड 180. फाइन. Children, are we fine? Okay. So what I'm doing, थोड़ा सा पोर्शन मिटा रहा हूं. This is all you have written. I need space now. We are doing function transformation. Now your book tells only about 180. You will do any function transformation. Come, let's learn the trick. Suppose somebody tells me sine of 180 plus theta. ये क्या होना चाहिए? Now see how to record it. Sine 180. What is the first figure? 180. Immediately 180 बोलते ही बोलो you are on sleeping line or you are on standing line. Sleeping line. Can you change the world? You cannot. You are a worthless fellow. Function transformation will not take place. You are on worthless fellow. Children, you have to now take these. ये इतना सीरियस होके मत पढ़ो, मजे से पढ़ो तब समझ में आएगा. ये सीरियस मत बनो यहाँ पे. Sine 180 plus theta means the transformation is not possible because my baseline is a लबड़ू सोया हुआ लाइन है, कुछ नहीं कर सकता है. So this will give me sine. So no. So whenever you get these things, you have to answer two things. One is, what is the transformation? Okay. Second is, what is the sine? And third is, what is the angle? Final angle क्या आएगा? ठीक है, ये तीन बताना है. एंगल का टेंशन मत लो, एंगल बहुत इजी है. Angle is very easy. Whatever is this angle, that same angle will come. This is periodicity. Sine 180 plus goat, something goat only will come. Sine 180 minus goat, something goat will only come. इसमें आप टेंशन मत लो. ठीक है. Our first thing is transformation. अपने आप को पूछो, transformation will depend on lazy versus Bahubali line, BB. 180 means you are on which line? Lazy line. Lazy line cannot change the world. So no transformation. The function will be retained as sine. And angle क्या है? वही है ना, theta. अब sine आंसर करना है. Sine आंसर करने के लिए हम ASTC यूज करेंगे. कॉफी भी तो पीना है हमें. 180 plus theta. 180 plus theta. किस क्वाड्रेंट में जाओगे? 180 plus theta means you are going on quadrant number 3 and go by the formula. On quadrant 3, who is allowed to be positive? Tan. Are you tan? Are you tan? Don't ask here. Ask the parent function. ASTC always with the parent function. What was the parent function? Sine. Is sine allowed to be positive on third quadrant? No. So this will be minus sine theta. Let us check. Let us check. Put 180 plus 30. ऐसा करते हैं. Check करते हैं. Calculator खोलो. 180 plus 30. Hang on. Don't do it right now. Don't do it right now. So what is sine 30? Half. This should be equal to negative sine 30. That means our answer should be half. I have solved from this side. You try to solve. Sine 180 plus 30 means sine 210. आप sine 210 मारिए तो negative 1 by 2. मजा आया? Did you understand the decoding? Let's repeat it once again. Okay, let's repeat it once again. Sine of 180 plus theta. We have to answer three things. Transformation. You don't need to remember any formula, any book. Transformation, sine and angle. Transformation will be answered कि तुम शुरू कहां से कर रहे हो. Now let's take an interesting thing. इधर आओ. Next. लिखना बाद में. इधर इधर मजा लो, मजा लो, मजा लो. अभी फ्लो आ जाता है तो छोड़ो मत. Sine of 90 plus say theta. Sine of 90 plus theta. What is your baseline? बाहुबली 90. बाहुबली जमाना बदल सकता है, बिल्कुल बदल सकता है. साइन ट्रांसफॉर्म हो जाएगा इस बार, फंक्शन ट्रांसफॉर्म हो जाएगा. एंड यू नो साइन ट्रांसफॉर्म्स टू कॉस, तो कॉस में हो गया. एंगल तो भाई साहब पहले से वही रहता है, तो हमने इसको भी आंसर कर दिया, इसको भी. अब साइन 90 plus theta means you have landed on which quadrant? 90 plus theta means you have landed on second quadrant. This is Q1, this is Q2, this is Q3, this is Q4. When you come on second quadrant, who is allowed to be positive? Sine is allowed to be positive. What was your parent function? Sine. So you are allowed to remain positive. अब मार के देखो. Let's do sine 90 plus 30. That means you are trying to plot sine of how much? 120. Sine 120 should be exactly equal to root 3 by 2 because cos of 30 is also equal to root 3 by 2. Check करके देखो. Sine 120 check करो. root 3 by 2. मजा आ रहा है अभी? अब हम किसी भी फंक्शन को ट्रांसफॉर्म कर सकते हैं. तो हाँ I took a random angle sine 90 plus theta, so I took sine 90 plus 30. See, you don't know sine 90. If I ask you today, Ashmita, tell me the value of sine 120, आप बोलोगे सर ये तो सिखाया ही नहीं आपने. तो हम बोलेंगे आइडिया लगाओ. अभी खत्म नहीं हुआ, अभी इसका मजा और आएगा. Wait. Sine of 120. Where is 120? Sine of one. Where is 120? 120 is somewhat here. Now you should ask me a very nice question. You should say, sir 120 तो यहाँ पे है. आपने इस एंगल को कैसे दिखाया? आपने 90 के साथ 30 जोड़ा. मैं आपके साथ एग्री नहीं करती हूँ. मैं इसको ऐसे देखता हूँ. कैसे देखूँ? This to get it 30, what it should be? 180 से मैं 60 minus करूंगी. Our original angle is 120 degree. We are trying to find out. I did this as 90 plus 30. Now our friend Srinika says, I don't agree with you, sir. I will put 120 as 180 minus 60. She has the right to say this. Agreed? Let's see whether our formula works or not. चलो आओ फिर से देखते हैं. Okay, I'm taking off this much portion. Let's see whether our formula works or not. So this time we are trying to plot sine of 120 degree, and Srinika madam says I will go as sine 180 minus 60. Remember, before this I had solved it as what do you call sine of 90 plus 30. अस्मिता समझ में आ रहा है मैं क्या करने वाला हूं? I am trying to solve sine 120. I solve it as 90 plus 30. Srinika is disputing. She says, no sir, solve it as 180 minus 60. ये भी तो 120 होता है. Okay, let's see. चलो शुरू करते हैं. So we have to get with three things: function, angle, and sine. Function, first transformation. Your baseline is on what? 180. You are starting with the sust. So आप transform होगे? नहीं होगे. So you will come down as sine. थीटा थीटा ही रहेगा. Agreed? And 180 minus 60. 180 minus 60. Which quadrant you will be lying? Second quadrant itself you will be lying. Agreed or not? And in second quadrant, who is allowed to be positive? Only sine is allowed. All sine, tan, cos. All sine, tan, cos. Only sine is allowed to be positive. What is my parent function? Sine. So I retain positive value. ठीक है? Last time कितना आया था हमारा? Last time this value came as how much? So check what is sine 60. Sine 60 is better root 3 by 2. Agreed? And what did this transform to? We started with 90. So the function transformed to cos. And theta remains as theta. Question is about sine. So where did we go? We went 90 plus. Sorry. We went 90 plus. So we landed on second quadrant, and in second quadrant only sine is allowed to be positive. My parent function was sine. Parent function with which you started was sine, so I retain the positive, and I know cos 30 is also root 3 by 2. और देखते हैं, थोड़ा और मजा लेते हैं. Now after learning so much, children, you now will tell me, we are trying to plot tan of say 90 plus theta. Tan of 90 plus theta. We are trying to plot. Now tell me how you will plot. Participate in the discussion. Quiet रहोगे तो मैं समझूंगा, आप नहीं समझेगा. So how do? You have to answer three things: transformation, angle, and sine. Angle तो क्या बनेगा भाई साहब, हम पहले ही जानते हैं. Our angle will be theta only. First is transformation. You're starting with Bahubali line this time. 90 and 270 are Bahubali line. Can they change the society? Yes. Can they change the function? Yes. If tan changes, tan will change to whom? Cot. Now let's look at the sine. 90 plus theta means I have come on second quadrant. Who is allowed to be positive on second quadrant? Only sine. My parent function is tan. So you are not allowed to be positive. You would be negative out here. Let's take an example. Tan of 90 plus 30 as per our finding should be equal to negative of cot 30. Tan 90 plus 30 means tan 120. जरा बच्चा मारो तो tan 120 कितना आता है? मारो मारो. कितना आता है? नहीं तो cot 30 मार लेते हैं ना. Cot 30 is easy for us. What is cot 30? Cot 30 is same as tan 60. So cot 30's value should be negative root 3. This should also be negative root 3. Just check in your calculator.
Yes.
Yes, होना ही पड़ेगा. Now without looking at the board, let's do a transformation. आ जाओ. Without looking at the board. Only this thing I'll draw for you. Only this one is allowed. 0, 90, 180, 270, and 0 and 360. Right? So our question here is, all are positive. Only sine is positive. Only tan is positive. Only cos is positive. Okay? If you are here, if you have a mobile, just text your home. You'll get a little bit late. नहीं तो आप समझोगे नहीं. There's no point in releasing you early. Now we want to transform sine 360 minus 30 degree. Yes. Who will try with me? Kirtan, come. You and me. We will try. Others doesn't speak. Only Kirtan will speak with me. Okay. Kirtan, we have to understand three things out here. What is this? Is what I'm first time enjoying doing mathematics with you. We have to enjoy we have to answer transformation. We have to answer sine, and we have to answer the angle. Do you agree? So by now you already know that angle will be 30 degree only, right? And by this time, Dhruv, you solve this value and tell me what is the value. Sine 360 minus 30. Basically, I'm asking you to solve sine 330 degree. Okay, and okay, 330. How much is sine 330, Dhruv? Negative? Negative 1 by 2. We hold this. Okay, come, Kirtan. So angle we have already transformed. Now tell me, sine 360. So you're starting with which line, Kirtan? Sleeping line or standing line? Sleeping line. So will you change the function? No, it won't change. So we retain the function as sine. Now 360 minus 30. Ask yourself, this is 360 minus 30 means this. So you're in which quadrant? Quadrant 4. Who is allowed to be positive in quadrant 4? Cos. Is your parent function cos? No. So you get negative. And we know sine 30 is half and this is half. This proves that we are correct. Which quadrant it will be? Very good. Why not? I'm liking this. Okay. Let's say sine 180 plus theta. Srinika's question is, how do I get to know which quadrant it will be? Srinika, are you fine that this is 0? Are you fine that this is 90? This is 180? If this is 0, this is 90, this is anything 0 plus 90 or 90 minus something. अगर मैं यहां से यहां जाऊं तो क्या क्या लिख सकता हूं? 0 plus theta. Who knows? I am after one cycle, so I can also write 360 plus theta. Who knows? I am after 2 cycles. This can also be 720 plus theta. Basically, it is n multiples of 360 degree plus theta if I'm going this side. N can be 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. अगर n को 0 ले लेंगे तो 0 plus theta. 1 360 plus. एक चक्कर मार के जा रहे हैं. अच्छा, अगर यहां से देखो तो क्या बोलेंगे? 90 minus theta. Have you understood? Now, if you are crossing beyond this, then this is 90 plus theta. And if you see from this side, then this is 180 minus theta. बोलो बच्चा, समझ में आया? If you see from this side, then it is 180 plus theta. From this side, if you see from this side, it is 270 minus theta. Clear? So now you are my next customer, right? Let's try to solve, and Asasra, you will be my calculator. She is going to solve for me what is sine of 270 minus 45 degree. Okay, we have to answer 3 things, Srinika. The 3 things are transformation, sine, angle. TSA. The TSA in the American airports. TSA, Transport Security Administration. आइए पहले एंगल आंसर कर दे. एंगल तो वही रहेगा. So this is equal to something 45. Transformation. 90 degree, 270 degree. What line are you in, madam? What line? Tell me. Bahubali or sleeping line?
45.
No, look here. 270. This one standing. Standing is the agile line, not like Dhruv. ये सोता नहीं है, जाग रहा है. Can it change the society? Yes. Bahubali. Standing means Bahubali line है ये. BB. It can change the world. It brings change. तो ये change करेगा. Sign अगर change होगा तो किसमें change होगा? Cos. Very good. Cos. So we have answered transformation. We have answered angle. Now sine. 270 minus. Madam, 270 is this. 270 minus, I should go this way or this way? This way. Which quadrant? Third quadrant. After school to college. Cos, tan, sine, all. That means you are on Q3. In Q3, who is allowed to be positive? Tan. Is your parent function positive? No. So you end up with negative. Negative of cos 45 is 1 upon root 2. Can you check me this figure? Is it 1/√2? Yes. ये तो आपके बुक में नहीं, आप तो 11th क्लास के प्रॉब्लम सीख लिए हो। अच्छा तो यहाँ पे चलते हैं ना, फर्स्ट क्वाड्रेंट से ऐसा क्या दुश्मनी है? चलो, साइन 360 प्लस 30, वेरी नाइस। साइन 360 प्लस 30, हाउ डू आई नो यू मेड 1 चक्कर और 2 चक्कर? इट इज सेम एज 30 ओनली, बट स्टिल वी विल सॉल्व। 360 प्लस 30, सो व्हाट शुड बी द ट्रांसफॉर्मेशन? यस अश्मिता आ जाओ, 360 प्लस 30 करेंगे। टीएसए आंसर करना है हमें, टीएसए। सबसे पहले एंगल कर ले, एंगल विल बी 30। ओके, ट्रांसफॉर्मेशन 360 मींस यू आर स्टार्टिंग विद ध्रुव जैसा लाइन, सो रहा है। कैन इट चेंज द वर्ल्ड? नो, इट कैन चेंज द वर्ल्ड, सो इट साइन 360 प्लस 30 बोले तो किस क्वाड्रेंट में गए? फर्स्ट क्वाड्रेंट में। तो भाई साहब सबको छूटे, ऑल आर पॉजिटिव। साइन 30 का वैल्यू होता है हाफ, 360 प्लस 30 मींस 390। चेक साइन 390। Have you understood angle transformation? आपके बुक के सारे क्वेश्चंस बनेंगे, आप उसका टेंशन मत लो। That is, if you need next class also, we will, because we'll not stop it. In next class we'll do this and we'll finish it off. Don't worry. Book questions we'll do. In our book questions now we need to answer which all are the other points which have the same value. For that you will need this transformation. You will need to mug up this table. I am saying don't mug up the table. You can straight away do it. Are we fine? Would you like to do a little bit more today? When do you have a test or evaluation? तो टाइम है ना अभी, तो आज ज्यादा डोज मत करो। आज आप घर पे जाके खुद को ये पूछिए, what all you should study before you come to my next class? The sine curve, the cos curve. Then you try to understand what is the ASTC that I told you, and you also try to understand what is the transformation. We also saw a little bit about negative angle, functions of negative angle. इतना देख के आइए। बुक के क्वेश्चंस you will do with left hand. My guarantee to you. But don't go by this book. आप इसमें जाने से it will become Greek and Latin to you. We just know one thing today, that it is not that only sin 30 is half. बहुत सारा प्रूफ हमें मिल गया है। sin 30 ही सिर्फ हाफ नहीं होता है। ये देखो, sin 30 हाफ है, sin 390 भी हाफ है। ऐसे कितने जगह पे हाफ हो सकता है? And they may ask us, tell us where sin is half apart from 30 degree. So we should say some more points. Now they become more strict. Tell us some points where sin is half, which is not 30, but that point lies between 0 to 360. So we should know that if we add or subtract, what happens? That we will do later. Yahan rakhe, or you want to do a little bit more? I'm asking everyone, do you think that in that case, what, because we can't stop, what we will do, our next class is day after tomorrow, right? So we can hold physics, then we will be able to finish 10.1. इसको छोड़ के एक वीक रख दिया ना, आप खा लोगे, you will just निकल जाएगा। Sounds good with everyone? If you continue, I'll record and I'll put up the video. Please try to see, and you have your calculator, you do some transformations on your own. You just see to see whether you're getting the transformation correct or not. Once your transformation is correct, okay, I'm repeating, when a function is given 180 plus 270, your book is only talking about 180. I am saying let it be 180, 90, 270, 360, 720, anything they give. All we need to see is whether your function starts from a Bahubali line or a sleeping line. Bahubali line means function will transform. Sleeping line means function won't transform. Angle remains the same. Allotment of the sign depends upon ASTC. Based on the parent function, लेकिन याद रखना, based on the parent function. ठीक है? Clear? बहुत कुछ चीज मिला के ये एक्सरसाइज कर दिया, इसलिए ये एक्सरसाइज हर बच्चा को टफ लगता है. Considering the way your exercises are in Cambridge, they give you a lot of time to learn. Here they have mixed cos curve, sine curve, this curve, which you have never seen in your life. So it becomes a little bit confusing.
Sir?
Yes, sir.
I have one more doubt.
Yes.
Whenever sine for tan, If we can't use spot now, it's we are not talking. So how do we write?
Okay, you want to do what 10?
Yes.
ओके हाँ 10 को चेंज नहीं करना है. अगर 10 को आप चाहते हो कि आपके पास कुछ एक वैल्यू है और इसका आंसर 10 में ही आए, एम आई रीडिंग यू राइट?
Yes.
हाँ, तो फिर क्या करना है, फंक्शन शुड नॉट चेंज. तो आप इंश्योर करो कि यहाँ पे ध्रुव वाला लाइन रहे, डीएल. मतलब आपको कुछ ऐसा करना पड़ेगा, 180 प्लस माइनस करना पड़ेगा, या फिर आपको ऐसे अपने एंगल को लिखना होगा 360. हाँ 360 प्लस माइनस, क्योंकि ये दोनों ही ध्रुव टाइप लाइंस है, स्लिपिंग लाइन. In this case your function will not transform. Your wish, the way you want the output. स्क्रैम्बल खाना है स्क्रैम्बल खिलाएंगे, ऑमलेट खाना है ऑमलेट, आप खाली बोलो. Only need to change the condiment inside. I like sunrise poach, वो भी बन जाएगा जैसा आप बोलो. Very nice question. You understood what she said. She doesn't want a transformation. Always remember, if you want a transformation, you should have Bahubali out here. What are Bahubalis? 90 or 270. And if you don't want transformation, you can only have 180, 360. That's why your textbook is only teaching 180, 180, 180. Because 180 पे कभी भी transformation नहीं होता है. Look into your textbook. Everything is 180, 180, 180. अभी समझ में आया? चलो नेक्स्ट करेंगे अगले क्लास में. राइट मेरे घर वाले भी सोचेंगे